John Lewis is from Alabama, and he's the chairman of SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Almost every civil rights event and confrontation, John Lewis was playing a role throughout the 60s. He is working on strategy, tactics. He's at the very center of the civil rights movement. SNCC had been in Selma since early 1963. King arrives on January 2nd, 1965. And so by the time the world focuses its attention on Selma, students had been organizing and thousands of people had been arrested in Selma for the preceding 2 years. John Lewis is a part of that. The students of SNCC vote not to participate in the Selma to Montgomery March. They didn't believe in these big stage demonstrations. They thought they were counterproductive. They thought they were more cosmetic. They believed in grassroots organizing. They wanted to organize poor people to take control over the political process.
And so John Lewis decided he wanted to march, even though the organization had voted not to march. He said he would march as an individual and not represent the organization.
John Lewis was very instrumental in giving the kind of leadership that we felt was needed in order to actually continue our march. And because of his particular leadership, he came and joined our group, that front line of that march.
He stays side by side with the SCLC and Martin Luther King for the duration of that campaign. So the victory that comes out of the Selma to Montgomery March, that culminating victory, that also includes all of those episodes that occurred beforehand. John Lewis was a part of that.
During the 1960s, when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had emerged as the undisputed leader of the civil rights movement, many of us as young people, as students, were deeply inspired. We started attending nonviolent workshops where we studied the way of peace, the way of love, the way of nonviolence. Before going on a sit-in, sitting down at a lunch counter, or standing in at a theater, or participating in a march, we studied. We became trained to be orderly, to be peaceful, not to fight, but to stand up, and to speak out for what we believe in. You'd be sitting there in an orderly, peaceful, non-violent fashion, waiting to be served at a lunch counter, and someone would come up and spit on us, or put a lighted cigarette out in our hair, or down our backs, pour hot water, hot coffee on us, and they would beat us, and we would get up and get back on the lunch counter stool. As a participant in the movement during the 60s, I was arrested 40 times, beaten, left bloody during the Freedom Rides in 1961. Not just once, but twice. In Rock Hill, South Carolina, and later in Montgomery, Alabama. During the march from Selma to Montgomery, when we were marching for the right to vote, for the right of all of our citizens to become participants in the democratic process, I was beaten on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, crossing the Alabama River in Selma. I had a concussion on the bridge. I thought I saw death. I thought I was going to die. But somehow, in some way, I lived to see the Voting Rights Act pass and see President Johnson sign it into law. I've seen friends of mine, people that I knew, killed. I knew the family of the 4 little girls that were killed in the church in Birmingham. But through it all, I never became bitter or hostile. And today, all these many years later, I don't have any hate or ill feeling toward any of the people that beat us, had us arrested and jailed us are the people who threw the bomb or fired the shots. I still believe in a society where we can live together as brothers and sisters.
It's Lucas.
And it's Aiden.
And Brother Dan got a 5 on the AP Calc test. Is that right, Brother Dan?
Oh,
He's
okay.
shy. He's shy.
And for lunch today, the lunch menu is not shy because we have Uncle
Oh.
Sam All-American Burger.
All-American.
We have the Capet Farms roasted
What a
Brussels
beautiful
sprout
transition.
salad.
Thank you,
the
Aiden.
slow braised pulled pork or free-range chicken nachos. With the roasted butternut squash corn nachos. And as always, the Jumpstart smoothie, the mellow strawberries, and Greek yogurt.
And in student life, if it's Tuesday, it is time for another brown bag discussion. To fill us in on today's topic is Miss Gallion, who joins us in Studio B.
Hello. Oh, that's weird. I'm looking at myself. Good morning. I'm here to invite you to today's Brown Bag Lunch, which is Growing Up Female in America, Part 2. Today's topic will be communication, which may sound kind of dry, but we're going to be talking about how we communicate in romantic relationships. How do we navigate that? When do we talk? When do we not talk? Why are we afraid of talking? I bet this resonates with a lot of you. It does for me. So come, bring a friend, and hang out, and we'll see you there. My room, 325 Freddy's at lunch. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Macho Maddox is coming again. It is that time of
Macho
year.
Maddox.
All students and faculty are invited to participate in completing a Macho Maddox survey. To find your peers who share the same interests. It is so much fun, isn't it, Lucas?
It's like a BuzzFeed quiz. You fill out your interests, you fill out your things. In about a couple weeks' time, they get it back, and you see the compatibility with other students at your school. Who knows? You can find your next lover, the next person you knew you always hated. I mean, I think one of my prom dates was actually on there. I think you were on there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at least compatible. Now, what do we have next here, Aiden?
Well, Lucas, I guess any student who would like to donate 10 inches or more of hair to Locks of Love this February should give his or her name to Miss McCormick at the Cross at break today. You will be giving a renewable resource and get a professional haircut in the process. Ooh.
I should do that. Well, Zumba is returning. Join our own Miss Payne in the auditorium at lunch on Friday for Zumba. Participants may change at lunch into appropriate fitness attire for the rest of the day. Questions? See Miss Payne, Mr. Banks, or Miss Harkness.
And the St. Mary's annual crab feed is coming soon, and we need energetic and happy students to help make this event a success. Check your calendars to see if you are available on Saturday, February 1st. Sign-up sheets are in the main office. Don't delay in putting your name in if you want to work and make some cash.
And all seniors still needing to complete their revised transparent background sign in PNG format, please complete and send to Miss Paulson by tomorrow.
And now we continue to look at key figures in the civil rights movement. Telling us more about another lesser-known figure in the movement is Cam with Panther Press.
Hi guys, so today's figure from the civil rights movement is Fred Shuttlesworth. Shuttlesworth was born on March 18, 1922 in rural Alabama as the oldest child in a large family on his stepfather's farm. After graduating from high school, he began to pursue a life in the church, preaching at the First Baptist Church in Selma and later taking over as the pastor of Birmingham's Bethel Baptist Church. In Birmingham, Shuttlesworth became increasingly involved with the civil rights movement. He worked with the Civic League and the NAACP on efforts that included increased voter registration among African Americans. In 1956, he founded the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights, which sought to overturn Birmingham's segregation laws. He then went on to establish the Southern Christian Leadership Conference alongside Martin Luther King Jr. in order to end segregation in the South. Shuttlesworth helped organize the historic March for Voting Rights from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama in 1965. In an effort to provide a source of low-income housing, he established the Shuttlesworth Housing Foundation in Cincinnati in the 1980s. He received the Presidential Candidates Medal from Bill Clinton in 2001.
For more information on another key figure in the civil rights movement. And now here is Andrew with today's Panther Athletics.
Andrew.
Good morning, what to do, Panther crew. Basketball is my favorite sport. That's your baseball, but whatever. I love the way that Suffin dribbles up and down the court. 3-on-3 basketball continues this Thursday with the unstoppable Shaq and Kobe. Oh, sorry, I mean Ruby and Suffin coming back to the court. Come out and support. There is a mandatory informational meeting in the band room today at break for those interested in joining the boys tennis team. And for any other questions about the team, see Mr. Nguyen. And today's Panther Athletics. The women's soccer hosts Albany at 3:30 p.m. They have a 2 p.m. early dismissal. Men's soccer travels to Kennedy. JV plays at 4 p.m. and have a 2:15 early dismissal, while the varsity plays at 6 p.m. And men's basketball plays at SBSV Frosh at 4 p.m. with a 2 p.m. early dismissal. JV at 5:30 and varsity at 7 p.m. And finally, it's a lot of athletics, the women's varsity basketball heads over to El Cerrito for a 6 p.m. tip-off, and back to Aiden and Lucas with today's birthdays.
Thank
For
you, Andrew.
today's birthdays, we would like to wish a phenomenally incredible happy birthday to Isabel Checa, Alexa Flores, and Hannes Zhang.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to you.
Students, at this time, please follow the link in PowerSchool to complete the narrative self-eval for your second period class.
Thank you,
Have
guys.
a great
Have a
day,
great
St.
day.
Mary's.